This is Rebecca Cheptegei, Paris Olympian, Ugandan athlete, multi-time world championship qualifier. So she made headlines this past Sunday over a dispute with her ex-husband over property and land that she owned in Kenya that she bought with her fortune from track. And he was mad and he was jealous and he set her on fire in front of her kids, poured gas on her, set her on fire. In the midst of that, set himself on fire as well. She was taken to the hospital. It was a high-profile thing because she's a high-profile athlete from Uganda, but she trains there in Kenya. So she moved to Kenya to train, and she stayed near the little training place, the little training base where they are. And she just got out of church, and bro pulled up. And apparently this is a pretty regular occurrence when it comes to the women runners who live in Kenya. Like 4 athletes within the past 5 years or so have been killed by their husbands or ex-husbands or some type of former spouse or current spouse, and they're calling it femicide. But yeah, she was taken to the hospital. She had 80% of her body burnt. She was in the ICU. She was sedated. And like many people were praying or hoping for speedy recoveries, including myself, because it's just a pretty bad situation all the way around. She was just minding her business, doing what she usually does, following her regular schedule, just getting out of church with her 2 or 3 kids. And yeah, he came with a tank of gas and poured it on her and set her on fire, because I'm assuming that she wasn't giving him any type of control or any type of access to the land and property that she owned and that she purchased with her own money. So he took things to the extreme and attempted to kill her. And that's like, I guess, the pretty normal thing out there. Because in the midst of doing all of this, he was taken to the hospital as well because his fool ass ended up setting himself on fire and he burned 30% of his body. But he haven't like faced any charges, and her family is frightened that he's probably going to flee the country or flee the city, and he won't ever be charged for what took place. So news dropped that she recently passed away yesterday morning, which is highly unfortunate because she was only 33 years old. She have super young kids, and she was just taking care of them and running, just competed in the recent Olympics and pretty much every championship prior to that one. So it's super, super highly unfortunate to see her just be minding her business, going through everyday life, doing all the right things, and be pretty much burned to death. She was killed really in the worst way. Like, I honestly couldn't imagine getting out of church with my kids, coming home, and somebody trying to argue with me over something that I purchased and I own outright and set me on fire, burned 80% of my body, had me in an intensive care unit for 4 days, and I later die. Like, I honestly just can't imagine that. It's a very, very unfortunate and highly disappointing situation, because not only did she die, like get burnt to death and die, but the fact that he doesn't get charged and he's not charged, and more than likely, according to her dad, he's probably going to flee the area and pretty much end up getting away with it. It's a terrible thing. Like, before this incident, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I had no idea who she was, but I have seen her run. And even if I didn't see her run and she was just a random like woman that I didn't know or never seen before, you got to realize when you doing wrong. And certain things are just too wrong. Like, if I'm a man and let's just say I'm having a dispute with somebody and I agree to fight him, another man, cool. We settle our differences that way. Or if I'm a man and I say, you know what? We gonna meet up, turn back to back, take 4 steps and turn around and shoot each other. And whoever kill each other first, that person wins. Cool. But for you to go out of your way as a man and pretty much attack and kill somebody who can't defend themselves or really haven't done anything wrong to you or to really nobody else, you have to face some type of consequences. And while you may feel like you will run away and flee and be away, you may be away, but your consequences will come. because this is a very, very ugly act, if I do say so myself. And you know the term about God and how he don't like ugly. We don't really even have to too much dive into that. But something definitely does have to change, because this has become pretty much a pattern out there in Kenya, in that part of Africa. And I heard that Kenya was the leading country in Africa with women being killed by men, which really isn't a normal occurrence pretty much nowhere else that I could think of. It does happen, but on a regular, consistent basis, I've never heard that before. But indeed, the whole ordeal is bad. Like, what are the kids gonna do now? They're super young. I'm not sure if they were his kids, but they pretty much lost both parents in this, just because he couldn't control his emotions and control his impulse. It's very ridiculous in my opinion. But that problem with the men in Kenya and the men in that sector of Africa, I think that definitely needs to be investigated and looked into, and see how they can make some type of changes, because clearly this is a part of their culture and it's accepted. Because if you can do these type of things and not even get charged as if it was normal, then clearly it's an accepted thing. And if you accept something and something is put into place where it's accepted by the people and the culture, it's going to repeatedly happen, because while you know you're doing wrong, there is no consequences for your wrongdoing. And people are pretty much known to take advantage of opportunities when they know that nothing is going to happen or no consequences are going to be, put into place. So there's definitely is an issue that should be looked into by their federal government, and if not, definitely should be looked into by the United Nations, and all of those countries and nations come together and come up with a formidable solution for this, because it's a problem and it's going to continue to happen if no action is taken. So if people aren't held accountable for their actions, then they're going to continue to do wrong and continue to do bad things. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'm out.